You're trying to recover, but therapy is too expensive. Maybe it's unavailable for you, or you are just completely burned out. The question we are asking today is, can you really do this on your own? This is what we're going to talk about today. Welcome back to your Anxiety Toolkit. I'm Kimberly Quinlan. Today, I am joined by the brilliant Nathan Peterson. He is a licensed therapist, an OCD expert, and a creator of an incredible, helpful tool for the OCD community over on YouTube. We're sitting down to answer some big questions today that you may have had. And the question is, can you recover from OCD without therapy? So let's explore this. We're going to be completely honest here. We're going to look at some research and hopefully leave you feeling hopeful and able to make a decision on what's best for you. So welcome back, Nathan.
Thank you so much. I love talking about anything OCD related, and more than just talking about it, it's like how can people like do something to feel better, get better,
Yeah.
just have some good resources.
Yeah. This is the reason I wanted to do this with you today is you have online courses, right? As everyone knows, I do too. And I also have a private practice, right? So, and as you do too. And often people ask, which should I use? Which one do I require? It's a very personal decision. But I sort of wanted to use today to go through the pros and cons of both, explore a little bit about who would benefit from therapy, who would benefit from courses, so that they can make an informed decision on their own.
It's such a tricky thing because obviously when somebody is struggling with OCD, they're researching what are the tools, how can I get better, what's the treatment, and most of the time people fall on finding a therapist. And as you know, therapists are actually kind of tough to come by for OCD specific.
Yeah.
You can go on some of these websites and there'll be hundreds of people that have OCD listed as something they treat, but that's not always accurate. And I think that's why, for me, creating my course was something I wanted to do, was like, if there is not enough help out there and not everyone has access to a therapist, this is something that hopefully could benefit, just have people gain some knowledge on like what the treatment actually is. Because when you research online, it's pretty general. It's like, go face your fears. And it's like, so what does that mean though?
Yeah. Well, it's not only that, it's also if you search the internet, you might be drinking celery juice, you might be, tapping your head and rubbing your belly. And there's all different kinds of solutions out there. And some have worked for some people, but there's a lot of misinformation as well. So, absolutely. Okay. So, let's say the main reason I created courses was because I was having to turn people away who could not afford it. I mean, the other real important piece here is it's not only just that you can't find a therapist, it's dang expensive,
Yeah.
right? So expensive. And right now, especially, some people don't have that money. And so often the first question or email that I get is like, is this going to be enough? Like, can I actually do this? Which again is why I wanted to discuss this with you. So I want to sort of get straight to the good part. Like, do you believe you can actually recover from OCD without a therapist?
Man, tough question. The hard part about this is that I think everyone sees recovery differently.
Yes.
For most people, they might think recovery means that I'm not having any intrusive thoughts ever again, and I'm just living my life, and it's just amazing. It's gone. I think if someone's going in with that mindset, they're going to be a little disappointed. Even seeing a therapist and going in with that mindset, it's interesting because I've had people reach out who say, I have recovered by taking your course. But I'm like, well, what does that mean? Are things just a little bit better? Did you do the tools that are shown on there? Unfortunately, with a course, it's like, this is educational based. This is not therapy. And so you can take what we provided. I haven't seen your specific course, but for me, it's like I'm taking someone through the first session all the way to the last session, as if I were to see them in my office. This is what I teach. Here's the worksheets. If you wanted to create a hierarchy, this is what you can do. I think the hard part is sometimes just finding motivation to
Yep.
do it and feeling confident
Yeah.
because you're doing it all on your own. So I guess ultimately, to answer your question, I think people can, I guess we could say, recover using an online course, but it takes a lot of effort to
Yep.
say, I am trusting in myself. I'm not sure if this is the exposure I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm just going for it
Yep.
and taking some time out of my life to make it happen every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. I have the same answer. So if someone were to ask me, I would say, someone said, "Can I recover without therapy? Can I do this with a course?" I would say, "Absolutely." And then I would say, "And," as you did, which is just reinforcing what you said, is there are certain levels of support that come with therapy that you would need to put in place if you're doing this on your own. Like you said, a lot of commitment, a lot of discipline would be one. Another is just support, like feeling validated, feeling encouraged, like cheering them on. Yeah, you've got this. Like that's such a big part of therapy. Is like you've got this, you can do it, kind of thing. So you would need to have that. My course is set out the same, and we'll talk a little bit more like that, like exactly how I would show a client. And that's the thing I would say here is OCD will try to convince you that your OCD is that special type of OCD that can't be treated. Even in therapy, it's got a way of making you doubt your abilities to overcome it. And I would say, no matter which route you go, whether you're taking an online course or you're seeing a therapist or you're going into IOP or residential, OCD is still going to want to try to like place doubt. And your work is to get really good at just being able to be uncertain and move forward. And that will be the case no matter what level of care you're at.
Yes. It's one of those things that you have to think about for yourself. Is this something that I am willing to do and find these other resources, whether it's a family member or a parent or a spouse that is going to support me through this thing and understand some of the I guess I call them OCD lies that pop up of, I can't do this because my OCD is different or they didn't explain it the way that I'm going through it. It's sometimes taking these doubts and these questions and just saying, I don't know, but I'm going for it
Yeah.
anyway. And
Yeah.
which is so hard when you don't have someone right in front of you saying, do this and do this and do this and do this. I know we try our best, through videos and things like that, but it can be a tough process, but people do it. And I think
Yeah.
that's the cool part.
And so just to get ahead of that, and this is a question I was going to ask you before, but I guess we'll ask it now, is like people reach out to you and tell you that they did recover from your course?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't maybe it'd be good to do, but I don't follow up and be like, "Well, what did you do? How did
Yeah.
you do it? What was your structure?" So I kinda wanna, keep their privacy and,
Yeah.
things like that, but people do it. I think sometimes even just having the knowledge of like, "Oh, wait, this is OCD, what I'm experiencing," and just feeling validated by knowing that people can get better, people learn the skills, and here's a way to do it if you wanna do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very similar to me. It's always wonderful to hear someone say, I really just needed to understand the way in which OCD was tricking me and the cycle it had me in. And once I got that, then I could wrap my head around how to sort of reverse engineer the process of OCD. And I mean, we could tell lots of stories there, but of course we don't want to tell other people's personal stories. One thing I want to touch on here for the listeners is if you're someone who is struggling, I don't want you to feel like there's something wrong with you that you didn't get to that. And I love that before you talked about really that definition of recovery. So just for everybody to be clear, what do you consider recovery for OCD to look like?
For me, I look at OCD and I say, can you live the life that you want to live? So, am I going out, even if I'm having an intrusive thought about something, can I go live my life? Can I go to a movie? Can I go hang out with my family? Have my kids sitting on my lap? Like the things that I want to do, can I do? And what I typically see is that the intrusive thoughts and the nagging and all that starts slowing down over time. For some people, they say, hey, I don't have really very many thoughts. Other people say, I still have thoughts, but they just don't bother me.
Yeah.
So I think there's so many different maybe categories of what recovery is. And for me, it's like if you're living your life exactly how you want to live it and you're not finding yourself doing compulsions, to me, that's recovery. And you're hopefully maintaining the progress that you've made through that. And I know some people who are in like the throes of OCD hear that and they're like, well, I am stuck in this forever. That's not really what it is. Like, you can have something that you're struggling with, but it is so minimal that it doesn't really matter. It's just a thing every once in a while that's popping up that maybe bothers you. It's a thought that's like, why is this back? Like, I haven't had this in a while. Ultimately, it's like you're feeling joy, you're feeling happiness in the things that you're doing, and I'm not thinking about OCD.
Yeah. And I think I agree with everything there. Like, I don't think that I'll tell you what I think recovery is not. Like, recovery is not no anxiety. It's not the complete absence of intrusive thoughts because we all have them. Even I would even go as far as like some of my clients even have said, like, I consider myself in full recovery. I sometimes do get tricked into OCD compulsions, but I'm able to pull myself out of them pretty quickly. They don't like take my day or take my hour like they used to. And so that's sort of how similar to you, I would define recovery. So then if we go back and we talk about like, can you recover without therapy? I would say yes, as long as you understand your condition and you understand the tricks that are so easy to get caught up in. Do you have any like feedback or thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's being very clear on what do I expect recovery to look like so I know what the outcome is going to be.
Mm,
Because a lot of people might say, I'm doing exposure and response prevention and it's not working.
yeah.
And you might have to go through like, what do you mean it's not working? Like, what do you have an expectation that maybe isn't attainable? Are you expecting an all or nothing thing? It's for me, I try to have people outline this is what I'm looking for. Is it possible?
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't know. We don't know what it's going to look like at the end of all this. We just know that person wants to get better. They want to feel better.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I tell people, let's not have really any expectations. We're just doing the work and we'll see what happens. Because if I had a headache and I'm like, okay, I need to drink a lot of water, I'm going to be thinking about, okay, did that make my headache go away? No, it didn't. So maybe I need to like go do some stretching. Did that make my headache go away? Okay, maybe I need to take some ibuprofen. Oh, did that make my headache go away? I'm signaling my brain back to checking how I'm feeling, how I'm feeling, how I'm feeling. And I might be disappointed each time because I'm still having a headache, but maybe I wouldn't notice it as much if I were just like, you know what, I don't know if the headache's going to go away, but I'm just going to keep doing what I want to do and go live my life. And maybe it's still there in the background. I just didn't really notice it because I'm not expecting it to go away. I'm just living life. I'm doing the things I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. You bring up a really good point, too, which is if you're constantly looking at the end goal, you're creating a lot of anxiety around that. Right. So I think it is like a lot of the work here is whether you are in therapy or not, is the recovery is like just taking baby steps and staying very present. And like you said, really getting good at being uncertain and not trying to figure all those things out. Absolutely. We've already talked about this in general, but I really want to just go through what are some of the reasons people would choose online self-help or workbooks over therapy? What are some of the limitations or the restrictions that people have about going to therapy?
You brought up a good point earlier is that therapy is expensive. It's one of those things of like, I am paying money and I have to keep going back to possibly see the results that I want to see because it's not all in one session where you're going to get everything you need. That is one aspect. Another aspect I think is, we're fortunate to have therapists here, in the States. Other countries, I mean, there might be some OCD specialists, but it's going to be far and in between. Is that the phrase?
Few and far between.
Yeah, there we go. And it's one of those things that's like, they might not have access to anything other than a YouTube video or a blog. And possibly in different countries too, like they might not even be able to afford our course. And that's one of those things where I step up and try to help them the best that I can. And that just because it's like, I don't need this course to make me money. I want people to get better. And I don't care if I'm giving it for free to some people. Like I want you to get better and you're probably never going to have this opportunity. And I think that's one thing that I feel joy in to help people with that. I think where some people kind of shifting a little bit, people are looking up like, how can I get better from OCD or success stories? And I think you can run into people who are like, I have OCD myself and I've fully recovered and take my course and you'll never have. And it's like, that's not the course that I want. Because if you're selling your OCD story as the recovery for everybody else, it's not the place you want to be.
No.
You actually want realistic, here's a treatment from a therapist, here's clear expectations that take you from step A to step Z, and see if it works, see if it helps you. But if somebody's selling a course that's like, you will recover, there, for me, I get some red flags that are being thrown up because you want to be realistic and honest about it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And again, I actually was talking on another podcast. I was a guest and they were asking a question like this. And I had said to them, there are people telling you really loudly that you can recover. Like it's a one-stop shop. You can get it done. And I think that the concern around that is the people who have OCD are pretty vulnerable. They're pretty scared. They're pretty hopeless. They may have depression as well. And it's so easy to be like, yes, that is exactly what I want. And I remember I had a business coach who did like an audit of my website. I redid my website this year and someone did an audit of it before and they were like, here's my notes for you. Like there is nothing here that tells me what the payoff is. Like nothing here tells me what their end goal, or there's this special word for it. And I was like, yeah, that's on purpose. Like I can't promise them that. And he's like, but you're not going to sell anything if you don't. You need to give them a guarantee. Like what exactly are they going to feel when they finish your course? And I was like, educated? Like,
Yeah.
I think they'll feel educated. They'll feel empowered. Hopefully they feel understood, but I can't deliver something like, I'll teach you how to play a song on the piano. Like I can't promise you that, but whereas some people are, which always concerns me. Let's say if you were considering, please, Nathan, don't feel like you have to like give a definitive answer to this. If you were considering non-specialized therapist or a course, what would you encourage people to take?
I would want people to take a course that is from a licensed specialist.
Yes.
Some licensed specialists do have OCD themselves, and they can, share that wisdom as well with it. But for some, I've run into plenty who have OCD and like that's their selling point. I have OCD, so take my course. And I did it, but yeah, that makes me nervous. It makes me nervous.
Okay, so let's go through it. If you did not have the resources to access specialized OCD treatment, whether that be the distance or the money or the access, we're sort of like the cuff prioritizing here. So you would say a course from a licensed OCD specialist over talk therapy.
Yes.
Okay.
Just even like a generalist therapist. Oh man, that's a tough one. I think
It
they
is.
can make you feel good, but if they don't know what OCD is, you might just be going in circles with
Yep.
what you're experiencing. Maybe things are worse because they're reassuring you over and over and over again, without knowing it. I don't blame them for it. But for me, I would want to know, like, this is the treatment, and maybe I share that with my generalist therapist. This is what I'm doing. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I would say if you had a general talk therapist or a course, but you had access to a general therapist, is there a way even you could marry the two? So say I have this workbook, even if you got it at like the secondhand, Goodwill, right? Or you bought it used, can we go through this workbook together? Or can we go through this course? I bought this course. I always say to clients, like, if you want to give access to your therapist, go ahead. Like, so you can do it together. Okay, good. And you're saying if you're going to take a course, how would someone determine a good course?
A good course, look to see if they're a specialist, if they're licensed. I mean, they don't have to be licensed, but they're not selling full recovery. I have the method. Everyone else is doing it wrong, and I've got it here, and it's my special thing. And it's like, I've seen some like that. They're like, mine is special. And it's like, there's no special. Like the treatment's the treatment. So finding a course that's like, this person is licensed. Maybe I can research them to see, do they have other articles? Can I read what they're about? Do they have videos? I know we have videos. I just learn about this person, see if I can trust like what they're saying. We're all about education. So if there's someone selling, this is educational, to me, that's better than you will fully recover, because I think that's kind of the ethical way to do it. Is like, you're going to learn a lot of stuff. You can do what we're teaching, but I'm not telling like, you have to do this to get better.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. That's so helpful. Okay. let's talk about some research. In preparation for today, and I had seen this elsewhere, I was doing some research on the effectiveness of unguided self-help programs for OCD. There is a research that is a meta-analysis, and it is of randomized controlled trials, which is a very high level standard of research. And they found, I'm going to read it directly just because I don't want to kill it here. So it says 12 randomized controlled trials found that unguided self-help interventions had a significant moderate effect on reducing OCD severity compared to control groups. Now, that is more than just our opinions. That's proving that self-help interventions are very, very helpful for people with OCD. What I thought was interesting is it goes on to say the effect held in sensitivity analysis but dropped in clinical ratings. Importantly, dropout rates were higher in self-help groups, especially from community samples and CBT interventions. So let's talk about why do we think the dropout rates were higher? So that basically the research is saying like, yes, they do work. They are helpful. They can be very, very beneficial, but the dropout rates are high. What can we take from that? Why is that the case?
I'm wondering, this therapy is not easy to do.
No.
Exposure and response prevention. When someone's saying, let's go face your fear, and I'm doing that over a video, like, I want you to write down all your fears and we're going to go face them. And here's how you can do it. Like, there's going to be so many questions in somebody's mind. Like, am I doing this right? Should I be doing this? Do people normally do this? Is this okay for me to do? Maybe I'll just wait to see a therapist. I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of, for OCD, there's a lot of education that needs to come before someone does some therapy.
Yeah.
Of like, this is OCD. This is why we do the treatment. You have to have complete faith that this is something that you need to be doing, even if you're not 100% sure, because it's going to feel horrible, realistically.
Yeah.
And so to not have that cheerleader as a therapist to be like, I know this is tough, but like, let's do it. And maybe give some reassurance actually that like, yes, this is actually the thing we need to be doing. I could see people dropping out of, I guess, a self-help course just because they're unsure or they're not confident in it. And they're like, nope, I'm not. Maybe there's other methods for me because I don't want to go face my fears too. If they don't have enough knowledge about the treatment.
I mean, to be honest, I haven't got the research here, but I think that that's also true of ERP in general, right? Like, even my clients, I can be as best as I can and I can show up and support them and be there on time and give them the same education. But some people just don't want to do that work or they're not ready to do that work. So I wonder if we even looked at research for OCD therapy, ERP and therapy, if the dropout rates would also be higher.
Yeah.
That's me. I have no research to back that. I'm just saying that as a maybe possibility.
And I'm also curious, just as like just because we're human, I buy courses that are like business courses and other things. And it's like, I don't go all the way through it. Like, I'll watch a video or two. And so would that be considered me dropping out of it because I bought a course, I didn't do it? Like, I think there's so many variabilities.
Yes.
I'll have to look at the research, and also like whose course did they use for it?
Yeah.
Was the course accurate? Did it give enough information? I don't know.
Yeah.
Was there 7 people that they did in the whole study? Like, I guess I'll have to look at it, but I think just human nature. Like, life is so busy, and just to sit there on a computer and like watch, I don't know how many hours of video and do worksheets, like
8-hour course.
yeah.
It's not for sissies, right? So yeah, for sure. What's interesting is, and I'll share this, and I think you and I are on the same platform. The way we teach our courses, we use the same, internet. I don't know how you call it. Platform. I just redid my OCD course. I'm trying to redo all of them. And we actually just gamified it. So to try and help with that, because I'm not someone who looks at data, but again, I had someone audit my business and he was like, well, what are your dropout rates? Or what are your completion rates? I think he called it. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I haven't looked. And we looked and completion rates were pretty good. But they were saying like, okay, if you really want to help people, you want to get them to finish that course. Like, how can we get them to finish that course? So we gamified it. So now you get a little badge. I mean, it's not like you win money or anything. But they do get a badge when they finish certain modules and stuff. And for me, if I'm going to get a badge, even if it means absolutely nothing, I'm going to finish that course so I can press the button to say mark it
Mhm.
as completed so I can get that course. So I don't know if that's also a piece of it, right? Like, how can we gamify? Because treatment's a little gamified. Like, I gamify treatment a little, like, let's set a goal. And if you can reach this goal, we'll go out, you can go out and get, that thing that you've been really wanting or whatever. So I think that that also plays a role in it.
Yes, I love that. It's one of those things that's like, we have to keep building motivation throughout
Yeah.
life, and that's of everything to
Yeah.
continue something. Even if we enjoy it, like, we still have to find time to make ourselves do it.
Yeah.
I love that the gamify, because there's something with that. I talked to some people who they're like millionaires. I mean, they own huge companies, and they would play games fighting over like something that's like $1.
Yeah.
But it's just like they are so in it and they're so competitive to like win that one little $1 thing. And it's just like, you could buy billions of these things. Like, why are you spending this time to do this? And I think it just shows how we are as human beings. And like,
Yeah.
if, I mean, yeah, even if it's just a little badge,
Yeah.
it's enough sometimes
Yeah.
to make it happen.
And I would say, even let's say if you're taking a workbook, is try to gamify it yourself. I think that that helps with keeping the motivation up and keeping you in the game. I've had to do that with courses that I'm taking, not related to recovery. Let's say it's a course on, I'm now starting to run. So I'm taking like running trainings. And it's like I have to like break it down into small baby pieces and give rewards for every time I do it. So absolutely, I think that is a huge piece of, keeping people moving through. You have mentioned this already, but I wanted to talk about, like, is there a particular way you structure your course to help, what's the word, like, increase the effectiveness of the course? Like, what is it about courses that can make it helpful to get through and finish it and get recovery from the course?
Yeah, I have mine structured. So I've got 3 parts. One of them is, education. So this is what you need to know about OCD. This is how it works. This is why we do treatment. And then it goes into, if you were to come into my office, here's how you're creating your own exposures, essentially.
Yep.
Here's how to choose the right ones, things like that. And then it's maintenance. So the third part is all about maintaining the progress that you've already made. Because I think that's one aspect that's missed quite a lot, is like, we don't go to the gym to get really fit and then just be like, I'm good. I never have to go back again. Like, I might have to keep going to maintain the progress that I've made. But I think it's 42 modules of just like, here's a video, here's, not everyone has a worksheet, but here's a worksheet that you can use to actually, each one has a journal as well to help you think about, what did you learn in this video? So what did you learn? How does it apply to your OCD? So it's not just like, let me go to the next video and go to the next video. Like, there's tasks to complete. What I do find, so because I can see, which videos are people watching. I do see a lot of people skip right to the treatment piece. And I'm curious, like, maybe you already have all the knowledge or you just want to get better immediately. But I totally get that. But like, the information is so important.
Yeah.
I try to make it as quick as possible. There's like, here's a video, here's a journal that you can use for each one. And yeah, let's
Yeah.
do this thing. And here's how often you can do it, and build support. Because I want people talking to their spouse or their friend or someone they can text to be like, I'm going to go do this exposure and I'm going to text you when I do it. Or if you see me on the couch and it's 12 o'clock and I said I was going to do it at 12, like, let me know.
Yeah.
I think that keeps people motivated through that as well.
For sure. I love the idea of the journal. That's really cool because that's a part of therapy, right? Like reflecting on what worked and what didn't work and what your thoughts were. I agree with the education piece. Like, do not skip it. In fact, I think it's a big reason why sometimes people's actual face-to-face therapy doesn't go well, is they haven't spent enough time just actually understanding their disorder and the function and how it tricks you and why you get stuck. I think that's huge. So I believe that the education, like, I'm somebody, if I understand something, I can pretty well initiate things, right? Like, but I have to understand it first. That's just the way that my brain, and I usually need to like see a visual of it. And so I think that it's also maybe dependent on how you learn. If you're someone who really needs to understand it to move forward, then these will be great options for you. Whereas I do think, let's say you have a coexisting condition, coexisting eating disorder, coexisting depression, that is one of the benefits of therapy, is they can help you pull those pieces pieces apart and differentiate the different treatments for those different conditions.
Yeah, because what do you work on first? And sometimes just for ourselves, we're not gonna know. I know for me, it's like what's interfering in life the most.
Yeah.
Maybe it's depression, maybe it's OCD, anxiety, stresses with work. There's more than OCD most of the time for people.
Yeah. If someone's taking a course, they don't have access to therapy, or maybe they've had therapy and they're no longer in therapy because maybe they can't afford it, and they're having a setback, what advice would you give them? Or if they've dropped out, like what advice would you give?
I have people use these opportunities as like, let's learn something from like what happened in life. Stressed with the work, you're on social media a lot more than you used to be, and now it's you realize you're more stressed. Let's take care of just life first, things that you can control.
Yeah.
And if you can't go back to a therapist, maybe for the finances or you don't feel like it's the right time. I think that's where our courses actually can be beneficial. Is like I can always go back and just watch a video,
Yeah.
see if I can bring more motivation to myself. And I find that like I've had my course, I don't know, maybe 5 years now, and people are still logging in.
Yeah.
It's like you're going back to this 5 years later and you probably know them all by heart, but like it's enough to possibly bring you back into some motivation and just remembering what to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first thing is also to recognize that setbacks happen in therapy too, actually a normal part of the process. So I've had people reach out and say, I've had a full-on relapse. I was doing so well. I think I need to go back and have therapy. Now, I'm never going to discourage someone to go back to therapy, but I often will first say, have you given yourself a chance to just get back to the practices that you were doing? Like, don't make rash decisions from a compulsive place. Like usually it's just going back to basics, which I think is so important. I will also say, and I don't know, Nathan, if you have had this case as well, the main reason, and I'll laugh at this, I'll be very honest with everyone. I try to be as honest as I can. Every now and then I will get someone request a refund, and it's because they've identified that they've bought the course as a compulsion.
Oh yeah.
They'll say, I'm so sorry. I don't want to have to, like, I have a refund policy. It's not a problem. But they'll say, I'm so sorry. I have to ask for a refund because my purchase was 100% compulsive. Like, I know what to do. I know how to do it. Maybe they're, but I panicked and I thought that maybe this was the missing key to my recovery. And I bought your course and now I'm realizing that was a bad decision. I always love when I get those emails. I always thank them for their honesty because I think that is, we can sometimes use these, self-help courses compulsively as well.
I do the same thing when, I wake up and there's a 2 a.m. purchase. I'm like, uh-oh. Oh, we'll see. But the same thing, it's just like, I'm grateful for them to even just like recognize that. And I like what you said earlier is like, even though we have courses, I don't think we're discouraging anybody to like go actually see a therapist. Because to me, people will send me emails like, should I go see a therapist or should I go do your course? And for me, it's like, go see a therapist, a specialist, or both. Like that's an option too, where as long as we're both teaching the same thing, which if you're seeing a specialist, we are most of the time, they can be helpful. And so I think for someone who's like, don't go see a therapist, take my course. And it's like red flags, red flags.
Yeah, for sure. And to be honest, I have found that it's actually something that my supervisor taught me when I was early in OCD treatment. And he said, I had to actually hear it from several people before it sunk in. Like he said, he was talking about changing different therapists. And I remember thinking and having students tell me, like, I actually have had a therapist tell me exactly what you've said before. It's nothing that I'd said that was specifically beautifully articulated. It's that they just needed to hear it a second time for it to just get really solid and be like, okay, two people I trust, let's go. Like I know what to do now. So I think that there's benefit to having, again, it doesn't have to be a course. It could be a workbook. It could be a YouTube video that you've heard and so forth.
Yes. I think just multiple people saying the same thing, that builds motivation. It's like, okay, well, there must be something with this.
Yes. Amazing. Okay, Nathan, number one, I will say I'm so grateful to have this conversation. It's a little wacky, right? That we are having, we're talking about the pros and cons to things, but I think it's beneficial to know that there is no one right way to recover. And I really want people to have some hope that even if they don't have access to therapy, that there are very, very good ways that you can make steps in the right direction. Tell us, number one, is there anything else you want to mention? And number two, can you tell us where people can find you?
People can get better. I think that's one of those things that like, I love this treatment because people actually get better and they live their life. And if you're considering treatment or if you're not sure if you should do it, it's like, just do it. And you don't have to know why exactly, like if it's gonna work or whatever. It's like, just do it. Because a lot of people at the end of it are just like, I'm so glad that I did. Or those who waited 10 years were like, I should have done this earlier. I tell people, like, you have to have faith that this is going to be something that's going to possibly change your life. You're just not going to see it. That's what faith is all about. You're not going to see it till you get to the other side. You just do it. And
Yeah.
I know I make it sound easy, just do it, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Isn't that true of anything in life, though? Like doing the hard things and just doing the hard things that usually give us the best benefit. I know that's true for me. Like the hardest things in my life have always been the most rewarding in some way. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Yeah. If you're waiting for motivation, you're going to wait a long time.
Yeah.
You just got to do it, even if you're not motivated to do it, or waiting for the right time, because there often isn't a right time. You just go. People can find me. I have a YouTube channel. It's called OCD and Anxiety. Pretty unique name. But yeah, I've been creating videos for a few years now, and it's fun to do, just to like come up with new topics and hopefully relate to what people are going through and give little nuggets of truth, I guess, of like, this is what we do. Hopefully to build some motivation for treatment.
Right. Is there any way they can find your courses?
Yeah, my course is at ocd-anxiety.com. Got a few courses. Depression, got one for OCD and family, and BFRBs even.
Yeah.
Hair pulling, skin picking, which you do too.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for the work that you do. It's refreshing, especially to have like-minded people who genuinely want to help and are doing it in a way that I think is really respectful and ethical and kind. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me talk about this stuff, because I love it.
Yeah. The moral of the story is, yes, you can. You can recover without therapy. It takes some motivation. It takes some time. It takes some dedication and some education. Absolutely. Don't give up. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you again, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you.